Good afternoon, everybody. Bon après-midi à tous. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day outside. I was just outside to run an errand there for my wife, and it was nice. It's a nice day out. It's a little cloudy, which still gives us some nice contrasts in the sky. Fantastic there. So I just want to welcome everybody to another episode. I believe this is our 31st episode. C'est notre 31e épisode en diffusion en direct. Demain, je vais lancer l'horaire pour au moins la prochaine semaine ou deux. Et puis, aujourd'hui, on va parler plutôt de le nouveau défi pour cette semaine, qui est justement... for those of you, sorry, I'm just going to fix I noticed that my background is a little bit, there we go, that's better. So, our weekly challenge for this week is going to be, I just noticed, I forgot to put where are my chat room. Give me a second here. Where is the chat? How come I don't have the chat up here? Settings, no. Bear with me a moment. No, this is not it. I have no idea what I just did here. I cannot see my chat. How come? Bear with me a moment. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. For some reason, I don't have my chat window. I don't know why it's not coming up. I don't know who's watching right now. I apologize for that for this one here. We're on our weekly challenge number 7, which is going to be, I think, rather interesting for today. We're going to do this in the style of I want you to shoot, and this is something I found on the internet earlier this week, which I thought might be very interesting, which is to shoot a single subject, but to shoot the subject in 5 different ways. So I want you to shoot the subject. You can pick any subject you want, whether it be portrait, whether it be still life. Ça peut être de la nature morte, ça peut être architecture, ça peut être portrait. Mais je veux que vous soumettez le même sujet en fonction de différentes prises de vue, différents angles, différentes façons de prendre le même sujet. Ça peut être même totalement des montages carrément individuels, totalement différents, différentes lumières, comme vous voulez. Mais je veux voir qu'est-ce que vous pouvez sortir quand même intéressant. So whether you're shooting, that kills me though. I cannot see. Hold on. You know what? I'm just going to do a refresh here. See if that will do it for me. And I now have. There we go. Now I've. Hello, Lynn. Bonjour, Marc. Hello, Lynn. Lynn. Oh, wow. Are you guys actually logged in at the different on different devices? Fantastic. I love it. So here we are. I'm going to go through. I ran through a couple of websites that I found earlier this week to show you some examples of what can be done by exactly shooting the same subject in different ways. I'll just switch over here to our screen capture. So this is one website that I found, Sada Foundations 2, which here in this particular case, she had an assignment, but it's not really. I'm not, logging in. I'm not showing these sites really for the content. What I'm looking just to show you is different ways of seeing that same subject. Okay. Sorry, I thought there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So in this particular case, this person here chose a couple of statuettes. So we have one. Nous avons ici quelques petites statues qu'il a utilisées en fonction de éléments. Et puis, vous voyez, c'est plutôt le chien qui est le sujet principal. So here we have the dog reading a back. Well, I guess it's a little plant sign, a description of the plants that the dog is sitting in the garden. We have another version here of the same statue behind closed gate, and then over here we have one of him sitting on the bench. Now, I mean, this particular image here again, the lighting could be better. The subject could be more in the light rather than being in the shade like that. But there's a good use of depth of field still. Fait quand même, il y a une belle exemple ici de profondeur de champ. We have another here, and again, in my for me particularly, I find that some of these images just needs a better cropping. You don't necessarily want to cut off the limbs of the dog as it is a portrait of him. But here's a couple of examples of one subject. This is something that tells a little bit more of a story for me. Maybe the shooting it in as we'd call contre-plongée, we could have raised ourselves a little bit so we could see a little bit more of the eyes of the dog. But still, there's a good example there. If we go on and see somebody else, what they've done here, here's a simple series of photos of a simple subject of a watch in the tree, a watch on a bench or on a railing. So there's an example there, and just to give you some slight examples of lighting, here obviously in this particular shot the focus is off. We have a better image here. Again, the lighting could be, we can use a reflector to bring out those, to just open up the shadows a bit more. Even if it's just a white cardboard or a white paper, you don't necessarily have to go out and start purchasing equipment and stuff like that. But still, be aware of your lighting from the point of view of the dog. A close up here. Again, think about also your positioning of your subject. Pense aussi à la positionnement. Justement, aujourd'hui, j'avais donné le cours de composition en ligne tout nouveau pour Gosselin, pour le collège Gosselin où je travaille. Et puis, on parlait justement de l'espace négatif et aussi en fonction de laisser le sujet respirer. So in this particular case here, the fact that the statue is really pushed closer to the right in the direction where he's looking, you have to at a certain point, does having this empty space here give more to the photo? I would, personally, probably it would have been better to crop this out and give and replace this space here in front, so that you're giving your subject a space to look into or a direction to go into. Okay. So these are different examples of what I'm looking for in seeing. This is a nice shot actually, compared to some of the other ones. This one's a little bit more interesting. Mind you, having all of the white in the back is a little bit distracting. And there we go. There's another one here. Okay, so these are two examples of here. I also found this particular website over here where, so with this one here, you have one image of, so here's an image of the child on a brick wall. Here you have another one where the child is walking towards either a secondary subject or in a particular direction. Here you have the subject relaxing on the tree. If you're going to do portraits, actually, let me see if I do this, just to clean it up the page a bit more. So here's a portrait. Here's one style of portrait for this particular image. You can also shoot from below your subject and only getting certain elements of that subject. In this case here, the person used a 35 millimeter. You know, the fact that they used f 2.8, 2.8, I mean, there's a lot of lens flare, there's a lot of chromatic aberration. Il y a beaucoup d'aberrations chromatiques et pas scintillement, mais des rayons de lumière de l'objectif en tant que tel. Mais quand même. Puis aussi, tu sais, en fonction de l'exposition, le sujet en tant que tel aurait pu descendre son ISO d'à peu près. Ben là, je te dirais, là, quand même, 500, on aurait pu aller chercher genre un 250e, je veux dire un 250 ISO, puis ma vitesse ici aurait été un 250e, que dans ce cas ici, c'est quand même une vitesse qui fige, même s'il y aurait un petit bougé dans les feuilles en tant que tel, ou que dans les branches, un 250e l'aurait figé bien en masse. N'oubliez pas la règle que je parle souvent à propos pour la vitesse minimum pour aller chercher, pour figer un sujet qui est fixe. Normalement, pour moi, ça va être 2 fois son focal. Fait que dans ce temps ici, ça serait un 70. Fait que j'irais chercher un 80e de seconde. On aurait réussi à faire une très belle photo figée, mais à un ISO qui aurait été beaucoup plus basse, probablement même un centième de seconde. Si je fais le calcul en tant que tel, j'ai justement si on regarde l'ISO à 500, ouverture, on va le laisser tel quel, à 1/500e de seconde. Si je descends si je descends mon 500 ISO, disons 100 ISO, ça me donnerait quoi? Ben, c'est simple. 100 ISO va me donner un centième de seconde. N'est-ce pas? Parce que j'ai baissé ma lumière, il fallait que je rouvre en fonction de la lumière qui rentre par je veux dire, il fallait que je garde mon obturateur ouvert beaucoup plus longtemps. Dans ce temps-là, mon 1 centième va ajuster pour le 100 ISO qui aurait dû être welcome back, John. C'est ça, fait que pour aller chercher, parce que j'ai baissé à mon 100 ISO, il fallait que j'aille un temps qui aurait été plus long, puis un centième fait la même chose que le 1/500e à 500 ISO. Ça va être plutôt avec le temps que vous allez maîtriser le triangle d'exposition en fonction de ça. Gardez toujours, à un moment donné, toujours en tête à quel point est-ce que mon technique doit s'adapter en fonction de quelle qualité que je veux y aller chercher. C'est d'aller chercher nécessairement un 500. T'as pas besoin, juste parce que vous êtes dans une lumière basse, ça ne veut pas dire que nécessairement tu as besoin d'aller chercher un ISO qui est très élevé. Qu'est-ce qu'il y aurait plutôt la directive, ça serait d'y aller voir à quel point est-ce que j'ai besoin de baisser ou monter mon ISO en tant que tel pour être capable d'aller chercher la vitesse qui va figer mon sujet qui est fixe à une certaine distance. Okay. Un sujet qui est en mouvement, typiquement, je vais doubler ma règle. C'est-à-dire qu'au lieu d'aller chercher 2 fois mon focal, j'irai chercher 4 fois mon focal. Si le sujet bouge, puis encore, je vais l'adapter en fonction de quel point est-ce que mon sujet bouge. Un Formule 1 qui est sur son, comme on dit en anglais, son straightaway, right? Il bouge beaucoup plus vite que quand il décompresse puis qu'il arrive dans la tournée d'épingle sur le piste. Fait que dans ce temps-là, j'ai pas besoin d'avoir un vitesse qui est aussi élevé que s'il est en train de traverser un roulé à 200 ou 300 km/h. Plus que mon sujet bouge, plus que j'ai besoin d'aller chercher une certaine vitesse. Et puis, tu sais, dans ce temps-là, c'est sûr et certain, tu sais, comme la photo d'origine ici, j'ai beaucoup de lumière. Ma première choix ici, ça aurait été tout de suite partir avec 100 ISO. Tout de suite partir avec 100 ISO. Garde le f2.8, puis après ça, adapte entre le 2.8 puis le 100 ISO, qu'est-ce que ça me donnerait en fonction de la vitesse. Et puis ici, ben, le calcul c'est très 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 facile. 500 ISO, je l'amène à 100 ISO, ça veut dire de mon 500e devrait être 1 centième de seconde. 1 centième de seconde, c'est quand même au-dessus de mon minimum que j'ai besoin pour ma 35 mm x 2 qui serait 70. OK. Un autre exemple ici, c'est le même sujet, pris avec un différent objectif. Et ici, on voit quand même, je veux dire quand même qu'on a utilisé un 16-28. Here we're using, I don't know, I should probably repeat what I just said in French, but basically, a lot of the times I see people making the mistake of when they're manipulating that exposure triangle, your sensitivity, your aperture, or I should say your depth of field and your motion blur. A lot of the times, the mistake people are making is they're going to get too much speed with too much ISO, and that in itself degrades the quality of the image. Because if I'm using a higher ISO, typically I'm getting more and more noise. The higher I go in ISO, also I'm introducing a certain amount of noise, okay, digital noise, which is not to mistaken with grain. I'm very adamant against that. I'm very, very, very. Grain and noise are two different things. It's got nothing to do one with the other. Okay. As much as digital noise can simulate a certain amount of grain, it is not at all the same thing. Okay. But in this particular case here, the photographer chose a 500 ISO, which brought him already to 1/500th of a second. Now, in this image right here, there's nothing that moves that validates using 1/500th of a second. Already that I know that I'm using a 35 millimeter, and I'd already explained to you that my rule of thumb when it comes to shutter speed is always twice my focal length when it comes to any sensor that is from 8 to 24 megapixel. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, John. Here I am talking to myself. This is what I'm showing you here. Okay. So in this particular image, there might be a little bit of a breeze, there might be a little bit of wind, but there's not enough movement here that really tells me that I need something like a 500th of a second. Okay? And 500th of a second is still quite fast when it comes to shutter speed. Slow shutter speeds usually play under 100th of a second. All right. So in this particular case here, I know that my shutter speed, the least shutter, or the lowest shutter speed that I should be using here is 1/80th of a second. Why? Because I know myself that there's no 1/70th. And 35 times 2 is 70. So you always step up to that, you always round up. So in this particular case, anything over 1/80th of a second would have worked for this image. Why would I sacrifice my sensitivity, which in turn introduces a certain amount of digital noise, which is a deterioration in the image itself? So in this particular case here, I would have been at 100 ISO, 100th of a second, and still kept my f2.8, and I still would have had the same quantity of light. And I still would have had the branches and the leaves. Now, if there was a tornado, and if there was if there was a brisk wind, okay, maybe 1/200th of a second. That would have been fine. Also, okay. In this image over here, now typically I don't normally. Somebody's. Oh, okay. I don't normally use these focal lengths, 16, 28. I don't usually go under. I don't use 50 and under when it comes to portraits. I'm always somewhere in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 100 millimeters when I'm shooting portraits. Unless I'm doing an environmental portrait where I'm really putting the subject in context of their environment, in context of their in context of their environment, then I would use a 35, or a 28 or a 24. Okay, but again, here we're at 500 ISO. A lot of people think, well, wait a minute, with all this shade and all this shadow over here, I have to use a high ISO. But typically, if I get a shutter speed over and above what I need to freeze my subject, or introduce whatever motion blur I want of my subject, then I will always readjust and either add more ISO or, if I can, drop it down. Okay. What else have we got here? shooting a subject in profile. Not that profiles for me are really, um, you know, I like when it comes to portraits, I prefer seeing both eyes. So if you're taking a picture of me at the vantage point of my webcam here, actually I'll do it the other way so that I can see myself at the same time. So if you're looking at me here and you're shooting a picture of me, I would prefer having something like this, or something like this, where you still, whoops, sorry, wrong eye. You still see this eye here, because what this does when you're shooting a portrait, whoops, sorry, I'm going to straighten my head out, and I do this, you are actually making the nose smaller, because now it has your cheek, your opposite cheek here, which is actually putting less emphasis on the profile of the nose. If I were to just turn my head like so, you'll notice that right now you're cutting my face in half. Okay? And my nose is really protruding, aside from the fact I have a nice big Italian nose. Well, nice, but I have a big Italian nose, button nose, if you want to go call it. And here again, what's with the 1/4000th of a second? You gotta ask these questions, because you know, sometimes we tend to really shoot off the cuff, but you need to have that split second analysis and say, well, wait a minute, I don't need that 1/4000th of a second. Why am I shooting at 500 ISO? Because that 500 ISO, not that there's much noise, but it's a certain degradation of the image itself. You know, when you have an abundance of light like this here, go get that 100, go get that 200 ISO if you can. Okay, and then adjust your shutter speed. Sorry, I did it again, didn't I, John? Sorry. So you know, here the subject is motionless. Le sujet ici, il n'est pas en mouvement en tant que tel. Même qu'il y aurait quand même un certain genre de, voyons, mouvement dans les feuilles. Je vais juste faire un petit calcul vite fait, juste pour te montrer à quel point que 4000 divise par 500. Non, pas 500, excusez. So 500, so 500, 400, 200. Ça va être bien plus facile que je fasse ça de même. 500 ISO, 400 ISO. Ça, c'est un tiers de cran. Après ça, on s'en va chercher sur 100, 200, sur 400, 200, 100. So 1, ça c'est 2, 2.3 crans de lumière. So 2.3 crans de lumière sur un 4 millième. Un 4 millième. On va faire nos deux crans first. Fait que 1 4 millième, un 2 millième, un millième. Fait que je sais que à 1 800e, j'ai bien en masse de vitesse pour figer mon sujet, pour avoir mon ISO à 100 ISO. So, you know, avec le temps, avec la pratique, c'est là où ce que vous allez faire ces calculs exactement là. C'est sûr et certain que dans ces cas-là, moi, j'aurais été chercher tout de suite 100 ISO, parce que j'ai tellement de lumière ici. Hop, excusez, on va y aller à la prochaine, encore. Regarde celui-ci. Encore, on est à les mêmes vitesses, mais regardez quand même, on est bien situé avec la lumière qui est le soleil en tant que tel, avec le sujet où ce qu'on a même un contre-jour sur la top de sa tête, dans ses cheveux, genre comme une lumière de cheveux inversée, car on est en arrière de notre sujet. Vous pouvez aussi aller chercher rapprocher vos sujets, certains détails de votre sujet, malgré que, tu sais, la mise au point ici dans celui-là, c'était dans sa bouche, sa lèvre de haut et son nez, quand ça aurait dû être l'œil en tant que tel. En portrait, si vous faites le portrait, n'oubliez pas, le portrait, qu'est-ce que le plus distrayant en portrait, c'est d'avoir des yeux flous. Et puis, écoute, je suis désolé, si vos yeux sont flous, vous avez manqué votre shot. Vous devez comprendre que si vous manquez votre shot, c'est une façon. La première chose que vous devez faire, c'est de reprendre la photo pour que les yeux soient nets. OK? Sinon, la prochaine fois que le moment arrive avec un autre sujet, avec un autre modèle, que ce soit, parce que le modèle, puis j'ai toujours la rationalisation que, ben, le sujet bougeait. Ben oui, mais dans ce temps-là, ça prend un 1250e de seconde pour que le sujet soit figé. Mais quand même, il faut toujours garder les yeux nets. Toujours l'élément principal qui est à l'avant-plan qui devrait être le mis au point. Vous voyez, ici, c'est vraiment sa face je t'avoue qu'il est un peu perdu dans cette photo-là. Ça aurait pu prendre un peu plus de précision sur le sujet, parce qu'on le perd, puis il y a trop dans l'avant-plan versus, puis quand même que c'est à 2.8, ça aurait pris probablement plus que 135 mm pour être capable de vraiment avoir les éléments alentour de ce sujet-là. Voyons, flou. Jouez avec des avant-plans. Mettez les avant-plans le plus flou possible pour être capable d'aller chercher les yeux. Et puis ici, quand même, on voit très bien que les éléments en avant sont trop loin de l'appareil photo que même à f1.2, mon mise au point qui est fait sur les yeux couvre encore trop mon avant-plan. Ben, dans ce temps-là, c'est pas que vous devez vous reculer, vous devez vous avancer pour être capable de rapetisser cette profondeur de champ. Encore l'espace, si vous voulez mettre malgré qu'on perd vraiment le sujet ici dans cet espace-là, mais utilisez l'espace négatif intelligemment aussi, où ce que vous ne perdez pas le sujet en tant que tel. So what I'm saying up here, is it's great to embrace the space of where your subject is, but don't lose your subject in that negative space. Okay, and in here, the only thing that really brings us to the child in the tree is the fact that there's so much of the tree. Rather, you really have to think about how you're placing your subject and how the environment is merging or melding with that subject to bring the subject out. Don't forget, the picture is not that empty space. The picture is the subject in that empty space. Okay, in that negative space. It's just that the ratio between the positive space and the negative space in here is so large. It's too much. Okay. And don't forget, your shutter speed does not affect your depth of field. It's your aperture that affects your depth of field. So again, I ask the question, why 1/500th of a second? Why 500 ISO? At a certain point, realize that you have to be your worst judge, because if you're not your worst judge, your public will be. Somebody in your public will be a worse judge than you and a stricter judge than you. And I'll be honest with you, when I start triaging my images, I am hard on myself because I know I've got to get that focus on the eyes. I've got to get that depth of field. I've got to make sure that when I shoot my portrait, that the eyes are sharp, and I need the face to have a certain amount of sharpness. I personally, I'm not that I'm against large apertures or fast lenses for their apertures. I won't shoot portraits at 1.2. I won't shoot portraits at 1.8. I will adjust my distance from the camera to the subject, from the subject to the background, in effort of the focal length of lens that I'm using, but I will technically always have the face itself. I will always have the face sharp. Okay, because what is the portrait? The portrait is the expression on the face. It's the person. All right. So, and I know there's a lot of photographers out there. I work with a lot of photographers out there, and they're stuck on that 1.2, 1.4, 1.8. To do beautiful portraiture, you don't need to have a $3,000 and $4,000 lens, or a $2,500 lens or a $2,000 lens. Okay, I shoot portrait with an f4, and it comes out beautifully. Okay, yes, there are certain limits. I have to be a little bit more concerning on the distance from my subject, on the distance from the background to the subject, and so on and so forth. But this is the reality of the photographer. That is what he has to. That is what he has to choose, and that is what he has to do with what he has as far as equipment goes. Okay. Shooting this at f1.2, this particular image here, all this shows me here is an exaggerated depth of field because on the fact that we're shooting a branch that the child is looking at. That doesn't really tell me anything about the child. And here, what's the subject? What is the story? Is the story the branch or is the story the child? So you've got to try to come up with concrete where everybody can read the image the same and tell and read the same story. This is a nice image. This depth of field over here, the blur from the wall that brings us up towards the subject where the focus is. And even at that, if I look at this, no, that's fine. The focus is on his eye, and the focus is on his open eye, not on his little monocular here. Okay. So these are examples exactly of what I'm. In this series, this is actually a focusing. So this is a new technique called free lensing or stacking focuses. And what's happening here is, actually, you know what? Free lensing. I've noticed this come up. I just want to take a look really quick at it. So free lensing, a step-by-step guide. What are we doing here? Does it give us a little summary? Let me see. A quick. We'll get back to this. I'll do an episode. I want to say I'll do an episode on this free lensing thing. It's a couple of times I see this come up now. But typically you need a lens on your. This is the best thing I could tell you is this one here is the equivalent of shooting either with what we call a lens baby and a tilt shift lens. Ça ici c'est justement un objectif que je sais très bien que Nikon en a un. Je ne sais pas si Canon en a un, mais je sais que voyons. Here. So basically what it is, so here we have, let's say, a 24 millimeter, a 45 millimeter lens. And this is a tilt shift lens where basically what happens, I can actually show it to you using this camera right here. I would show you using the M50 that I have, but the battery is charging right now. So what I'm doing here is changing the actual plane. Oh yeah, how come it didn't work? So if you look at this camera here, it's an accordion camera, okay? The film plane is back here. If I unscrew my side screws here on the back, now what I can do here with this particular camera is I can tilt. Well, no, sorry, it's not the back that tilts, it's the front that tilts. So here, if you'll notice, I can unscrew it some more, loosen it up a bit more. Hey, really? Now that I want to show you, it's width. Give me a sec. I go like this. We'll go like this. It's these two screws here that I have to undo. This one and this one. So now what happens is I can tilt. Wow, really? sec. I'll have it. Just that it's stuck in its, there we go. So now from here, if I want to, I can tilt this plane however I want, one way or the other. Okay? That's what this allows us to do with a tilt lens. Which what it actually ends up doing is it allows for you to change your depth of field because you're changing the focal plane from your lens to the back of your the back plane where your film is. In this particular case here, you see this arc. Well, this particular lens here can move either up and down on the film plane, or it can actually tilt side to side or back to front. Okay? Another example here would be, using a lens baby. And a lens baby is a cross between a pinhole lens. Now I know we have them because I saw them in our store in Laval, and of course it doesn't want to come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put here and what lens babies are that's one, but that's not the one I want to show you. What I want to show you really is this one here, this one here. Okay, so what happens, this is a perfect example, is that the barrel of the lens, le tuyau le baril en tant que tel de l'objectif, il est formé sur une boule que vous pouvez le déplacer comme vous voulez pour justement changer ta serre d'image de où il va se pointer sur ton sujet. Vous en avez plusieurs ici que vous pouvez trouver, deux autres. Mais justement, il me semble que, à moins que peut-être c'est parce que j'ai pas fait Lens Baby. Là, ça devrait sortir. There we go. Je savais qu'on les avait. Justement, vous voyez, ces objectifs ici, c'est un 50 mm pour un Nikon, pour un Canon. Ah, ben nous, ça a l'air que nous, on les a discontinués, probablement parce que le marché est très, très niche pour ces objectifs-là. Doesn't mean that they are actually discontinued. It's just that we might have to special order them. As you can see, the website is actually does exist here. Okay. So this is another way of shooting using that. Where is it? It was this one here. Yeah. So to get this focus, this exaggerated focus, this can also be done in post-processing using filters in Photoshop or in any type of art photography software, or art photography, Photoshop, Lightroom. There's very easy ways. See this one here? Actually, there you go. This person used a Lens Baby Edge 80 to create exactly that. And the Edge, do we have one here to show you? The Edge 35, the Edge, that's the Edge 50, Sweet 50. On la trouve. Oh, peut-être qu'ils l'ont. En tout cas, 35, 50, je vois pas de 80 en tant que tel. On va voir ici. En tout cas, il y a différents objectifs que vous pouvez utiliser. La photographie, c'est infini qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire avec. Okay? Il y a différents objectifs qui sont fabriqués pour faire justement différentes... exactement. Le Sweet fait ça. Le Edge s'en va chercher justement différentes flous placés différemment, comme ici. Le flou, c'est plutôt ici et ici dans le coin. C'est tout en fonction de comment est-ce qu'on place l'objectif. Vous avez le velvet qui donne un certain lueur de la lumière. Euh, Après ça, vous avez, il y a tellement de choses que vous pouvez, un swirl, tu sais, c'est des courbes que vous pouvez ajouter dans le bokeh en tant que tel. C'est les parties qui sont floues. So, the swirl, what it does is it curves the bokeh in created by the lens. That the bokeh again is that quality of blur that we get in the depth of field. Okay, so there's all kinds of, and I got another one here, Pinterest here, to show you some other stuff as far as shooting the same subject with different perspectives. It could be something in portrait. It could be something in. I mean, look here. This is interesting. I've done this with some weddings, the levitating shots. Um, so all depends on how you place your camera to your image and so on and so forth. So what I want you to do for this week, mind you, I think this is going to be a rather short episode. I'm sorry. Pick a subject. Oh, wait a minute. John, I think it works better on a tripod. Oh yes, of course. The camera, definitely. It definitely works better on a tripod when I can actually use both hands to turn my knobs and screws and all that stuff there and do my adjustments. But basically, that was just to show a little bit the effect of what you actually end up doing with a lens baby. Lens baby is just it's free flowing in all axes of movement. So again, aujourd'hui, le défi pour cette semaine, ça va être de créer 5 photos de la même sujet, mais que les 5 photos soient complètement différentes. Que ça soit la prise de vue, que ça soit l'arrière-plan, que ça soit complètement un différent environnement où ce que vous avez pris la photo. C'est-à-dire que vous pouvez faire un genre sur une table de cuisine, si c'est une statue ou un fleur ou quelque chose, puis après ça, le mettre à l'extérieur, peut-être sur la table de patio ou sur une marche en tant que telle. Et puis de là, je veux juste voir comment est-ce que vous pouvez créer différentes prises de vue de la même photo. Je veux dire de la même photo. Pas de la même photo, en passant. Je veux que ça soit prise dans l'appareil photo 5 différentes façons. I don't want the same picture cropped 5 different ways. I want 5 different pictures of the same subject. I want you to work with the camera, in the camera, more than in the post-processing. Okay? I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I'm going to start tomorrow. I have the day off. There's no diffusion en direct or anything. I'm working on my presentation, finishing up my presentation for the FAC. But I will put time in actually doing some shooting this week. Try to get caught up with all of the weekly challenges that I missed myself. Because technically, what I want to follow you along with you guys and show you my aspect of what we're doing with these weekly challenges. And I'm starting to finish up some episodes, pre-recorded episodes. Je suis en train de finir aussi des épisodes préenregistrés, qui est un autre aventure en fonction de ma chaîne YouTube. Et puis j'espère d'ici début du mois prochain d'avoir 1 ou 2 photographes en fonction d'entrevues sur ma chaîne YouTube, aussi peut-être sur mon podcast. Fait que on ne sait jamais, peut-être je vais vous appeler pour une petite entrevue audio ou vidéo, for that matter. Je vous souhaite tous une belle fin de semaine. I wish you all a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Saturday. Get out there and shoot more, practice more, and that's how your photography will excel. Va faire la photographie, pratiquer plus souvent, plus en tant que tel, plus que vous pratiquez, plus que vous allez augmenter la qualité de votre photographie en tant que tel. Puis, plus que vous auriez plus besoin d'avoir les photographes comme moi pour valider quelle vitesse, quelle ouverture, parce que le plus que vous pratiquez, plus que vous allez trouver euh, votre recette pratique pour qu'est-ce que vous faites en votre photographie. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. I wish you all well. Stay safe. Keep that 2 meter distance when you go out. Have as much patience as you can for the people that are out there already and might be a little bit less, I was at Jean Couture earlier there, there were a couple of people that were just a little bit on the weird side, but you gotta, a little bit of patience, a lot of kindness, and we'll get through this for all of you. I wish you all a wonderful day. Merci beaucoup à tous. N'oubliez pas, si vous êtes à l'extérieur, n'oubliez pas le distancer de 2 mètres. Surtout avoir la patience avec les gens alentour de vous. Vous n'êtes pas le seul non plus au monde. Et puis, justement, un peu de courtoisie. Oui, courtoisie, un peu de... pour une raison ou une autre, j'ai plus la traduction pour kindness, mais soyez bien avec tout le monde. Merci à tous, bonne journée, et on se revoit lundi prochain. Justement, entre ce soir et demain matin, je vais envoyer le calendrier. Between tonight and tomorrow morning, I will be sending out the calendar the next few episodes, and I'll be posting them automatically up on my YouTube, so you'll be able to see them as upcoming episodes directly on my YouTube. And if you're already, please, haven't forgotten, please, if you enjoyed this episode, like it. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Si vous n'êtes pas déjà abonné à la chaîne YouTube, s'il vous plaît, abonnez-vous. Si vous aimez les épisodes que vous voyez, s'il vous plaît, les likez, juste pour que je sache qu'est-ce que les gens cherchent à avoir comme information dans ces styles de vidéos-là pour la photographie. It's just so that I can get some live analytics from YouTube to find out what episodes were better, what episodes were more interesting, and also don't forget, use the comments on the episodes to suggest more material, to suggest more subjects, to suggest more challenges. Don't forget, si vous n'êtes pas déjà abonné à le groupe Facebook, envoyez-moi un message. If you're not already subscribed to the Facebook group, send me a Facebook message. Let me know, and I'll put you in. No problem. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you.